What we're going to talk about is care coordination organizations. Some of what we're going to talk about will apply to all care coordination organizations, and there'll be 6 throughout the state about how they're going to operate, why they're going to operate, what the state is doing, and so forth. And some of what we talk about will be idiosyncratic to the one that we're forming here, along with YI and several of our partners, Care Design New York.
We think it's important to have a discussion with families and with the service coordination staff. So this is not being done on behalf of the state. We are not here representing New York State. We're here because we know it's important for families to get feedback and for the staff to get feedback as to what's going on. We know there's a lot of confusion, and hopefully our goal, as Ed always says, our goal for these meetings is that you walk out with more information than when you started, when you came in. That's our goal, and hopefully we're able to make that happen for you before you leave tonight. So why is the state looking to make changes to service coordination? We're going to cover that. What is this thing called care coordination? And then we're going to talk about what does this mean to individuals and families, and what it doesn't mean to individuals and families, because there is a lot of confusion about what does this mean beyond service coordination. So we'll cover that. And the last thing we'll talk about is care design. You know, we're not treating this as an infomercial for care design, even though we did hand out a pamphlet. But we want this to be a family-based meeting. So we want to cover as much information as we can tonight and kind of do that. So why don't we start with why is the state making these proposed changes? Well, the state, like a number of states, have been out of compliance with something called conflict-free case management with the federal government. And the state has had to develop a plan for how to come into compliance with the federal requirement of conflict-free case management. So let's start with what is conflict-free case management. Conflict-free case management in the federal eyes is a separation from services that are provided to an individual from the coordination of those services. And right now, many of you may receive your care MSC. That same agency who provides the MSC may also provide the other services that your loved one receives. So for example, you have MSC with YI. We'll just use YI since we're there hosting tonight. So, and you also may receive Community Hab, for example, from YI. What the federal government is saying is that's a conflict. Okay, that is a conflict. So you can't do both the coordination of care and deliver services to people. They see that as you're steering, that families aren't being truly given choice, even though many of you may have made those choices, right? But they see that as a total conflict. Now, to prove those statistically, what we have, in looking at the system, what we have seen is that right now there's about 100,000 people, individuals receiving Medicaid Service Coordination. Of that, about 80% receive MSC and their services from the same provider. Okay, and if you live in a residence, it's more like 90%. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid see that as pointing to a statistic that points to a conflict, right? So even though families may have made those choices, the thought is that families need to be given full choice. The decision was to separate out the care coordination from the other services. So that is what the state is proposing to do. So MSC, as we know it today, will end, as of right now, it's scheduled to end on June 30th of next year, of 2018. And something called care coordination will start on July 1st of 2018. So there'll be no disruption of service to the family and individual. So that's the first point, okay? Now, what is care coordination? How is that different than MSC? Right? Well, care coordination is considered by the federal government to be a more robust service than service coordination. MSC, as we know it, the responsibility of the service coordinator is to coordinate the services, the developmental disability services that the person receives. Under care coordination, the expectation is they're going to coordinate more than that. They're going to coordinate not only the services provided through OPWDD, but also they're going to be coordinating and assisting families and individuals with their health care, health services, their behavioral health services, to the extent that they have these services, behavioral health and long-term care services. Are the other primary Medicaid services. Care coordination is, just like MSC, is going to be a Medicaid-funded service, so Medicaid will continue to pay for that, for this service. And then the other thing about care coordination that's a little different, there's a couple other things I want to mention. First is that it's going to be a system that also provides opportunity for families and the staff to have access to clinicians. As part of care design, as part of the model that the state is developing, we have to provide not only the care coordination, but we also have to have clinical resources that are part of the care coordination organization. And all the entities will have to have this, is to have a clinical presence within our structure to support individuals and families. So we have to have a medical doctor, we have to have nursing, we have to have behavioral health specialists, we have to have potentially nutritionists, whatever staffing from a clinical perspective that would be available, not to deliver the actual service, but to assist in planning and supporting individuals and families to get what they need, right, to the extent that that's necessary. Again, it's to provide a support network, right, which is a broader network than what MSC brings to the table today. So that's going to be a resource available, and again, it's not required that you have that, but it's going to be a resource that's available to you. The other thing that the care coordination will do, it's going to be done through the use of technology. So each of the Ed had mentioned there's going to be 6 such organizations as Care Design. We're one of the 6. All of them will be using the same electronic record system and care coordination system. And what that means is you'll be able to electronically, and I say you, I'm talking about families, you'll be able to go in through a portal. You'll have the ability to do that in this system. And of course, it'll be HIPAA compliant, it'll be based upon consents that are provided to who can access information. All of that has to be in place, of course. But the point is, you'll be able to access real-time information that right now we know is a struggle to get. So we think that'll be more efficient, more effective, not only for families and individuals, but also for the staff, right? They won't be having to chase down the ISP, and we'll talk about that in a minute, about the changes coming with what they call the plan itself. So that's a significant change, and we think that's a good thing, to be more technology savvy in all of this, to really help with the better coordination of the services. So that is something that we see as very important, and we think is going to be very helpful.
Remember, the people who are doing it are the people who are providing services now. That's one of the things that I got to give government credit here. But they didn't bring in outside. This is not an insurance product. It's nothing like that. They brought together the agencies already performing service coordination and said, basically, get together in your regions and make this work. So that's what we've done. There will be 6 throughout the state. That's what we've done. If we do this right, how many people know the name of their Medicaid Service Coordinator? Everybody, right? Okay. If we do this right, the person who's your Medicaid Service Coordinator on June 30th will be your care manager on July 1st, with increased resources to help you coordinate even more things. That's as simply as we can put it. To do that, we brought together partner agencies who are doing that with us throughout the state. We're all invested a little bit in all of this stuff, and there are probably, 300 or so agencies throughout the state providing service. There are 3,000 service coordinators and 105,000 people receiving Medicaid service coordination. So there's a lot of work to do in a very short period of time. But if we do this right, on July 1st, everybody will have a care manager who's the same person they had on June 30th. Now, there'll be some slight exceptions to that, which we'll talk about. But by and large, that's the goal. And that person will have the resources and all the things necessary to help them provide the service they're already doing and expand that to other things you may want or need through coordinative services. So that what we're trying to do is tell everybody, look, not only are you going to have a job, you're going to have the same job, you're going to have an increased job, and you're going to have a competitive salary, even though your employer is going to, your paycheck is going to come from a different place than it did before. You're going to have increased responsibilities, more team, and opportunities beyond just being an MSC. Because this, frankly, and we'll talk a little bit later, frankly, this is the wave of the future, folks, about how services will be coordinated even when the dreaded insurance companies show up several years from now. If we get this done right, then we can do it right now and be the go-to people for the insurance companies and not have them hire their own people. That's, in fairness to OPWDD, folks, that's what they're after here. And honestly, I don't always give them credit. This is a good thing.
Well, let's start with what the state is requiring, what the state's not requiring. So the state does have a limited requirements right now in terms of what they've put out. As you know, MSC has basically 2 caseloads, right? You cannot exceed 1 to 40, right? With the exception, Willowbrook has a required caseload of 1 to 20, no more than 1 to 20. So you can go as high as 1 to 40, non-Willowbrook. Willowbrook is 1 to 20. That's the current MSC. Under this scenario, the state is putting, I don't want to get into the details of what the state's doing, but they're going to have different levels that they are tiering, what they call tiers of where people might fall. So based upon that, they've put together what they believe the state would fund for the various levels. So what we're looking at from a care design perspective, so the point is there are no set ratios other than the requirement around Willowbrook maintaining 1 to 20, and there will be a small segment of the population that they will tell us that also are required a 1 to 20 who have significantly high needs individuals. But the state will tell us who those individuals are that will have to provide 1 to 20. For everybody else, there are no set ratios. So what we're doing from a care design perspective is that we're looking at what's going to be appropriate for people and the individuals. Obviously, people want to keep their case managers, by and large. Not everybody. Some people may use this as an opportunity to change their case manager. Who knows, right? That's all to be determined. We're thinking, because we're going to have a mix of people that live both in residences, group homes, where there's a lot of support to individuals, from the residential team, for example, to individuals who live on their own in the community, individuals who live with their families. The thought is the people who live in the community typically need more intensive support, so their ratios would be lower. Those who live in a certified residential setting, their ratios were likely to be higher. On average, we're going to be in the range of 1 to 30 to 1 to 35 is where we'll probably be, and that's a blending of what I just said, of residential and people who live in the community. So that's what again, these are just preliminary projections. Obviously, we won't know that until we actually sit down and get into the details of who is in and all of that. But that's what we're thinking right now. So they will be ratios that are better than what you're seeing right now in MSC. What's not changing is all the other services that your loved one received today. And that includes whether it's the DD services or their medical services. None of that changes. Who the providers are doesn't change. What they get doesn't change. The only thing changing is service coordination. That is the only change that you will see. Okay? And as Ed said, if we do our jobs right, hopefully that's not going to be seen as a big change. So that's an important, everybody asked that's a very important question, because people are worried about this. Is this going to change what my son or daughter, sister, brother, whatever the relationship is this going to change, I have to get a new doc? No, it doesn't change any of that.
We don't have to worry about in-network, out-of-network.
You don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
When we get to the managed care era, we're going to answer that question differently, but we're years away from this. This was just now the change of service coordination to care management.
And remember, we're not, just to be clear, we are not a managed care company. All right, we're not a managed care, which means we don't pay providers. We don't have providers from the perspective of being in a network that we pay. okay? We're just a coordinator of services. So ultimately, the goal would be that we're going to be, as Ed said, we want to make sure that people who have been supporting individuals with developmental disabilities for all these years maintain a significant role in the future of our system. We don't want this to be handed over to somebody else. So we want to make sure that we do this, we do a good job with this, so when we get to that day of managed care, we're the entity that's utilized to coordinate this, continues to coordinate the services for people. That's really what the goal is in terms of what our goal is in this. I can tell you what we're committed to as an organization, and again, we have listed here on the back of this all the agencies who have partnered with us, and again, they're partnering with us for their MSC.
That needs to be up.
Yeah, this is a little light. We have a few more, but the point is we're partnering with all these agencies from an MSC perspective, right? Not the other services. They continue to provide all their other services that they provide. So we believe that, first of all, we're going to do what's right for families and individuals. So in terms of a caseload, we're going to be very mindful of that. And the other thing is supervisory. We're going to have, and I know this varies by agency today, our thought is that we're going to have about a 1-to-4 supervisory ratio of the care managers. We think that particularly in the beginning, it's important to have sufficient levels of supervision to support the staff and to help them. Right? We're gonna look to create a flexibility with the workforce, which again, I don't know what agencies do today. Remember, this is the only service our organization is going to provide. We are not going to provide any other service. So this is all our focus and attention is on. Right? So we're not distracted by other things. And I'm not saying providers get distracted, but when you run an organization that you provide 15 services, right, you can get distracted. We're only providing one service. So we're focused on what we need to do as an organ, and we'll be focused on that. And obviously, if we're not competitive with paying people, and if we don't provide flexible work schedules to staff, flexibility in the time off and when they can take time off, if we're not doing those things, we're not going to retain a workforce. We're not even going to get a workforce, right? So we think that that's all important in order to get the right people and to bring over the staff that are currently doing it. Our expectation is that initially we're going to look to hire everybody. We're not going to, we don't have time to go through some other kind of process. Plus, families want to retain their MSC by and large, right? I know that some don't, but the point is we want to do that. So, and Ed mentioned the training. What we have said to the state is that we believe people need to be trained. We can't wait to July to start training people for what these changes are. We have said you got to start in January or right after the new year to start to introduce trainings that are meaningful, that are going to help them do their jobs, the job that we see as what they need to do come July. Right? Now granted, it's not going to be the be-all, end-all, and all the training won't all take place by then, but we're doing we have very few employees right now. I'm one of three employees. We have 3 employees, so we're still in the ramping up stage of this. But we have using the agencies who are connected to us. We have a training committee who is looking at. We're also working through PHP, as Ed had mentioned. Now they've already been in the area of care coordination. So we're using a lot of their materials. Obviously, they need to be, re-looked at to make sure it meets with our needs. But the point is, so we're starting with information we have that will help introduce the topics around healthcare. Right, because not every MSC, and but some have told me, I have an MSC that does everything, that's so good that they can go into the healthcare world and help me, they can help me over here, but that's not the usual case.
We're also bringing over the MSC supervisors who have been working in training, and we have jobs for every one of them and more to be able to do this. And we're utilizing the expertise of all of our 63 partners, the people in those agencies who understand this stuff, as part of putting together the training curriculum, and all of that's going on now.
Because right now MSCs are required to get training, so many training hours a year. We're looking to substitute in courses and things that we think are going to be important. And we're working with a few of the other care coordination organizations. Ed had mentioned, and this is an important point, we don't see this as a competition, quite honestly. Some of them may see this as a competition amongst the 6 of us. And we see it as everybody needs to succeed. Right? We need all 6 to succeed. Right? Because it's better for our field. all right, and what we're trying to do if all succeed. So we're partnering with some of the others to help us and try to collaborate on these things, right? As opposed to reinventing the wheel, everybody off doing their own thing. So we're trying to be inclusive with the other CCOs on some of these kinds of activities. They may decide they wanted to go a different direction on certain things, and that's fine, but we think as a rule, we could come up with a training curriculum that everybody could utilize. Our plan is to stay in the community, that where the people are today. We're not going to be yanking MSCs out of their communities, right? They're going to stay in the communities where they work today. Initially, the staff will work out of the places they work now, right? Ultimately, that probably won't be where they're located, ultimately, but it'll still be in proximity to where their families are. Okay, and you know, we're looking at, we're trying to get away from the notion of having fixed space for staff other than for training and meetings and ability to meet with families if that's necessary, right? We would have space for those kinds of things. But we're thinking we'd rather have the staff have the flexibility of their work environment being whatever, you know, it doesn't have to, they don't have to come to an office every day, right? Some agencies may already offer this. We're not going to start out with that. But that's our plan, is to offer more options for staff so they're not having to come into a building. The way we're going to be doing this stuff electronically, they can do what they have to do from anywhere. Let's talk about what happens to the plan, right? Right now you have something called, and I'll get to your question, you have something called the ISP, right? The Individual Service Plan. That's going to become, they're changing the name of this to a life plan, is what they're changing. You know, don't blame us, we didn't name it, but that's what they're calling it. And you know, it's not really going to be much different from what you already have, right? What's hopefully better about it is you'll have these other clinical resources available to support the family, the individual. You'll still have the same meetings that you have, right? You'll still have meetings that happen. The plan will still be expected to update at least every 6 months. And again, more often, depending upon what's going on with the individual and family, if it needs to be updated more frequently, that still will be the expectation. So that stuff will not change. Who participates in those meetings? Again, you'll still have, if it's a residential provider, they still would be participating, the community, whoever the services are, whoever typically, you know, is in those meetings now would continue to be able to be a part of those. But again, that's all with the family and the individual sort of at the circle of all of this, in the center of this, right? And working through that, just like you should be doing now, right, is what typically or supposed to happen now. I'm not saying it happens in every case, but that's what should be happening. So that's kind of how that will work. So again, and we're not going to, at those meetings, the family can decide they want to go here, and it may be the same provider. That's absolutely your choice. The problem is we can't sit there and say, oh, we think you ought to go to this agency.
Once the service coordinators who work for us go to work for Care Design, we're not going to have anything to do with them anymore. They don't work for us, they don't do anything. They're all, it's not that, you know, human nature makes things very different. They work for different things. They're free and easy to do what they want to do. They could have hated working for us, for all I know, and hated referring people to us. But they may have their supervisor may be somebody who worked for YI or one of the other agencies. So you're going to have a lot of mix and match here. And over time, the blending of all of that is going to provide truly independence.
Families are at different places with service coordination. We had somebody talk about the fact that, you know, I've had a case manager. Somebody said I've had my case manager for several years, and then they're gone, right? Then we've had others tell me the other night that I've had 4 case managers in less than 4 years, right? So the experience has been sort of, right, it ebbs and flows. The quality of the staff, you may still have the same case manager, but they may still stink, right? I hate to say it that way, but they may not be that great, and you don't have a good alternative. The expectation that OPW has put out is that the expectation is for Willowbrook and these folks that they're going to deem high intense needs will require a monthly face-to-face in whatever setting that could be, right, to be determined. For
the individual,
correct, with the individual, that's correct, yes, with the individual, yes, with the individual. In terms of everybody else, the expectation is that at least one quarterly visit take place. How will care coordination affect self-direction? If we do this right, it won't. right? And hopefully they'll support it, which is one of the training things I think that we need to, the staff are not probably where they need to be in terms of understanding self-direction, the coordinators. So we want to make sure part of the training will be a couple things. We think that staff need training around self-direction. Well, I think staff need training around how to interact with families. Yes. Right? And how they interact with families, or don't interact with families, right? And listen to families. Right? And again, I may be all wet on this, I don't know, but I think there's things that I think that we can improve, right? The basic communication, respect, are all critical to what we're here to do, which is support you and your loved one.
I also want to say that before the deal is done, the other group we have to get to is brokers and people who are doing that as well, so that they're comfortable and understand exactly what this is all about. We have to get to the staff first, the MSCs, but we also have to include brokers and others in the training who are involved in self-direction, in addition to having make sure the MSCs, current MSCs and supervisors really understand it. But it shouldn't, self-direction itself won't be affected by anything that we're doing, but we want to make sure the brokers and everybody are comfortable and understand where we are.
The front door does not change, right, with this, all right? However, and this is where I stress this to the families and advocates and the individuals themselves. This is the only service we're going to be doing. I believe that our job is to make sure, right, that we're the best advocate for the individual and family. That's our job. It's the only job we do, right? My attention isn't going to be, oh, I got to worry about this group home over here, I got to worry about this over. That's not my job. My job is to worry about what happens in terms of court and getting the services that you need. So that is what our attention will be. So to the extent that you go to the front door, you either get limited response, which means you might get, you ask for X and they give you Y and they give you a little bit of Y, not all of Y, right? Or something worse, right? Our job is to make sure that we advocate to get what you need. My job in care design will be to make sure people understand the rules, because that's where you become the best advocate, because you're telling them things that they should know and they don't. And you can stand up to that. Right? That's what we're here to do. So I see that as something that they've not seen, and having so many agencies who have so many things on their plate. I'm not criticizing any agency, whether they're on this list or with some other CCO. But this is part of, you provide a holistic look of services. This is all we're going to do. So our job is to fight to get what people need.
We want to give you choice at some point. We want to give MSCs choice at one point. We've got 105,000 people and 3,000 MSCs to gear into this. The only way we can do this is to try to do it at least for families to trust the agency that they've vetted and are with Care Design or whoever they're with, and that the MSC trusts the agency that they've got their best interest in mind to do that. Obviously you can't force anybody. It's not a gulag. We can't force you into a job or out of a job, but
that's the goal.
That is the goal. That is the goal. That is the goal. And that's why we're here. That's why we have MSC meetings. That's why we have MSC supervisor meetings, to try to get people comfortable with where we are, to at least take the first leap of faith to say, okay, I'll try this.
This is an opportunity for change, and that's fine. You can make change. You can do those changes. We're talking about situations where many families don't want to see that change, right? They're very happy with their MSC. Our goal is to try to make sure we get those staff and we retain them.
And we're very dependent upon our 60 partners here to be talking to the MSCs and making them comfortable that we're great and all, and we're having a lot of fun doing this, but we can't talk to 3,000 people, or even the number of people that will be coming here, 1,000 of them. We're projecting that we'll have 1,000 care managers or close to it by the time we're done. So we're very dependent upon the staff, the supervisors from the agencies where the MSC is now, making good, solid information and comfortable sounding conversations so that people are not saying, we've gone to meetings, trust me, where an MSC has said, well, this is the first I've heard about it. My agency hasn't told me anything. We're trying to coordinate and help the families coordinate all of that so that, if there's something specific that they need, someone's hospitalized, and you're going to come back and need home care, for instance. Well, we were able to help, and as the good MSCs do now, in working with to find the proper home care agency and somebody you're comfortable with people coming in. That's the kind of thing, in addition to which to say, hey, you know, Johnny's never gone to an orthopedist, and we have some real needs. So we'll be able to work within, I'll use the word network globally. I don't want to use the word network in an insurance thing like it's a payment thing. We'll use the word network globally to know that we'll say, boy, there's some very great ones over here at NYU where I can contact this or do that to help you negotiate those types of systems.
Who has aligned with us just for MSC services, okay? It does not impact the rest of the services, in this case, a YI here or ADAPT. It doesn't change the other services you may get from one of those other organizations.
With the Advanced Care Alliance?
Right, or the medical doctors, or any of those other services that, yeah.
No, they'll be working with the agency whether it's day hab, residential provider, community hab, or anything else. The MSC, or the care manager, let's get this straight now, care manager from Care Design will work with those people the same way they do now.
The other thing that we've taken the approach, we were not waiting for the state to give us information. We can't wait. We've decided we're going to do what we think is best. Now again, we'll have to make sure, and we looked at what the requirements are, you know, in terms of what was required in the application, in terms of what the expectations were. So we're building around that, which I got to believe they would be doing something similar. The point that she raises is, you're in this like transition period here, right? Now you have people approaching the, you know, needing support who don't have MSC yet. And it's hard to find an agency, not the agency can't find staff necessarily, right? Because who's going to take a job, right? They may be losing people. Who's going to take a job that's only for 7 months? Right, and not know their future. So that is a challenge, and that's on our list of transition issues to talk to the state about, because we know agencies are struggling with this right now and are going to continue to struggle with this. So we got to work with the MSC agencies and with the state on how to try to address this problem, because we can't have people not go without care coordinator or the MSC and wait till this happens, right? We can't let that happen. So that'll be one of the things we introduce on Monday when we talk. Ed said there's a meeting with OPW. We need to raise this issue, and this is among many, several transition issues that have to be discussed. And we want to make sure everybody has the same toolkit. Right? They have access to the various tools that will differ in the various regions about which tools apply in which region, right? Or in which community. So that's how we want to standardize the toolkit to give people options. So we have to make sure the staff are doing what they need to do, that they're responsive to families, to the individual first, to families, and we're going to be assessing them. And we need to give the supervisors the tools to be able to be a supervisor. You know, many of you work in jobs. One of the hardest things is to supervise people, right? Oftentimes you have great employees. They're great employees, but they're terrible supervisors. So we have to make sure the staff are trained to be supervisors. I'm not saying, again, MSC supervisors are not trained. All I'm saying is supervising people is hard. And that's one of the reasons why I've been a consultant for the last 4 years, because I got out of the business of having anybody report to me after so many years. But that's hard. Supervision is hard. And you want to make sure they're focused on the right things to help the staff, not to just hover over them, but to really help, not be a helicopter supervisor, but be able to help them and help them learn, right, so they can be better at what they do. So that's what my job is to instill that in the workforce and in the people who are doing the training, and they buy into the same values that we have, right, and what we expect. That's what we have to do. And if I'm not able to do that, then I'm not communicating effectively with the staff who have to carry this out. Right? That's my job, to instill that in the workforce and make sure that it's going to be a challenge, because we're in so many places, right? It's a challenge, I admit that, but over time we will get there and we will make sure that we're doing the things that need to be done here. One of the things I would suggest on that to families who have been through this is there should be discussion amongst yourselves about how to bring the issues, concerns back to the state directly, again through a parent group, right, an advocate group.
We can do that, Jim. We're not afraid to do that.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I'm just saying, but there's enough, I think there's enough assessments that have been done, as Ed said. People need to coordinate this and have discussions first with the advocates, right, families and advocates, and to have a discussion about the issues and concerns that you've seen individually, right, so that you can comprehensively bring this back to the state about what those concerns are,
Or
right?
that was topic one first.
You've done one. So I'm just saying, I think that's important to the extent that that can be done. We would be glad to kind of try, I don't know what we could do to try to help you with that, but the point is, we understand what your concern is, but I agree with Ed. I don't think this is going to impact things in the short term. We understand that you still have to be concerned about it. We're not saying get rid of your concerns. All right, I think we've finished. Thank you all. We're still here if you have some questions afterwards, you want to come up and ask us or whatever, but thank you very much for coming.